Since Monday, a lot of semiconductor companies and stock have taken a hit because of DeepSeek, right? We've already touched on, well, AMD, Intel. I did a video about winners and losers as well. ASML reported earnings, much better than expected quarter, beat across the board for guidance for the next quarter and for full year as well. That video will be in the top right corner, but I do want to focus on a specific company here, and that's Micron. I personally own Micron, so of course I'm already biased here, but Micron, at the start of the year, well, it was up close to 30%, right? We started the year very, very strong. We were up 30%. Well, since then, the stock did drop quite a lot. In the last 5 days alone, this stock is now down 18.74%, back under $90, back under $100 billion in market cap, still has a very low forward PE. Yes, it is a cyclical company, but in this case, with HBM, I do expect the cycle to go on for much longer and go up much higher than before. But with Micron specifically, and maybe SK Hynix as well, there are some questions to be asked when it comes to, well, do we actually need so much memory, right? With the results that we've seen with DeepSeek, and not just DeepSeek, right? You might not trust the number, the $6 million number, that doesn't matter. But it's about the fact that cost is coming down, especially when you talk about inferencing, and maybe we are at the end of the huge training cycle. So do we actually need that much memory, right? Well, that question I would like to answer in this video. Me personally, I bought the dip on Monday because, man, I don't think that it's going to be such a big deal, and I'll explain it in this video. If you enjoy this type of videos, hit all the buttons. We really appreciate that. If you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment with the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Thank you very much. So remember when we talked about DeepSeek, we talked a little bit about FP8 training, which refers to the use of 8-bit floating point precision for training deep learning models, a technique aimed at improving computational efficiency and reducing memory usage compared to traditional 16-bit or 32-bit training. Now, of course, when we see something like this, when we see these types of results, well, reducing memory usage, then the questions arise, oh, Micron, do we actually need Micron? Is the stock a buy? Is that not going to hurt the business, etc., etc.? So of course, on one side, you have lower per device memory, which could lead to a reduction in sales. But on the other hand, we could see an overall increase of memory sales because of the increase in use of AI devices, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on PCs, etc., etc. You will need more memory chips. We've talked about that before, right? You can have 100 users paying you $10, or you can have 1,000 users paying you $1. It's the same, just more users. But like I said previously, what if those 1,000 users pay you $2? You 2x your revenue, but the user still pays 80% less than before. This is where I think we are going to go. Now, if we go back to the ASML report, this specific slide, we can see that there is one aspect, well, there are two aspects. Logic is also becoming bigger and bigger, but memory has grown faster than logic. Logic is actually down year on year. Memory has grown extremely quickly from 23 to 24, and they did say that they expect memory to continue to grow quite strongly. Anyone that lowers cost is in fact good news for ASML, because lower cost means AI can be used in more applications, and more applications means more chips. If that means more chips, that means more memory. Someone also shared a very, very interesting conversation between an analyst and someone that is very high placed at Micron, and they basically talked a little bit about NVIDIA, about inferencing workloads, and also memory and HBM. So when it comes to inference, compute is initially required, but memory is more important than compute itself. According to that person, when you look at inference workloads, the need for compute is lower than the need for memory. The reason why you need HBM connected to the GPU is because if you only count on memory on the chip, when you don't have enough memory on that chip, it has to go to the next GPU. He also thinks that you can cut down on compute and increase memory for inferencing, and your performance reduction won't be that big. Which of course leads me back to what I've been saying throughout the whole week. Cheaper gasoline doesn't reduce oil demand, if it leads to more drivers on the roads, right? Lower cost of AI development means more users to build and scale, which will lead to an increase in total GPU demand and in turn memory as well. You can also have mass scale inference, good for AMD, good for Intel, good for Micron, SK Hynix. And so for the next couple of years, I do expect this trend to continue. Of course, we know that next quarter is going to be a down quarter, right? There are some issues with supply, demand, and all of that. So next quarter, we know, was a miss. But all in all, I do expect this trend to continue. I do expect DRAM to continue to dominate and grow quite significantly in the next coming years. NAND, I do expect it to see a small reacceleration as well. I'd also note that, well, the Trump tariff, the hypothetical Trump tariffs on, well, let's say Taiwan Semiconductor, it's something to keep in mind, but remember that Micron is an American company. And when we talk about tariffs, it's always about making a deal. So with TSMC, it's probably about making sure that, well, they continue to build a lot in the United States and maybe even more than previously expected. But for Micron, since again, it is an American company, I do think that they will be one of the companies that could benefit in the next couple of years. Same with Intel. And so, yes, all in all, this DeepSeek thing, in my opinion, didn't really last that long, right? Last week, we were talking about that huge $500 billion Stargate project, which of course will start with just $100 billion. And even that, I think they could start with way less than that. And then a couple of days later, everybody forgot about this Stargate project. Everything was about DeepSeek and how that's going to destroy American tech companies. Well, since then, apparently, that's not the case anymore. And so with Micron, the thesis, in my opinion, is still the same. And if things do accelerate, especially when you talk about inference, I do think that we're going to see an acceleration for memory makers like Micron, like SK Hynix and Samsung as well. Because as we build more and more of those devices, this one, maybe headset, AI laptops, PCs, you name it, well, more and more AI applications means you're probably going to need more and more memory. And plus, the big models will still exist, the GPT-4 or 5s, Grok 3 and 4, Llama 4, etc., etc. They will all still be needing the best of the best HBM chips. So, yeah, that's it. Plus also, there is going to be an extremely big focus probably on bandwidth. That's something to probably note as well. So all in all, right now, it's true. Micron did take a hit. We're back under the 200, the 50 and the 20-day moving average, but it does seem like we are going to stay above that uptrend line. It did start back here in late 2022. It was respected every single time. So yeah, all in all, I'm still a buyer under $90. What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? Let me know that as well. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.